Welcome to the Degenerate Gamblers. What are we in week 6 here? I don't know. Things are flying. College football season's flying. We're almost into the Major League Baseball playoffs. Um, hey, if you like this, if you think it can help you with your upcoming bets, hit the link in the bio below. Go to Whop.com, join the Degenerate Gamblers. We have an awesome Discord. We have some great people on there all around the country. We have some solid handicappers. We crushed baseball this weekend. We had the White Sox this weekend. Who in the world bets the White Sox? But we did. We had them this weekend. It was a nice bank. Let's get into this weekend. Oh my God. What a wild weekend, man. We'll get into that big Georgia-Alabama game in a little bit. The SEC is just going crazy right now. Few teams looking in from the outside, couple teams like Alabama look like they have an easy ride going ahead. But let's start right off the bat with Thursday night. Gatorade, baby, the breakfast of champions. Thursday night, we start off pretty well. One of the games I went heavy on, and I loved him at home, playing under the lights, was Rutgers. Rutgers was playing Washington. They came out, the offense didn't look great, the defense is solid. And that's what that coach does. He's been around forever and he is a defensive guy, and they shut Washington down. We had Rutgers money line. We had 5 units on it. They beat the shit out of Washington. The other game, the Miami game, Miami was what, minus 17 and a half. I actually got them down to minus 4.5. They were won by 4. They should have lost. They played terrible. There was a big interception in the first half, a big momentum breaker. Virginia Tech, they played well. Virginia Tech ran the ball well. They didn't. They came out to play. Miami's still undefeated. I think they have a legit chance to win the ACC. They have a chance. There's a few teams left. Clemson's going to be tough to beat. I mean, Clemson's playing the best football. They lost to Georgia that opening game, and they've blown everybody out since. Um, but we ended up, I had Miami, not straight up, but I had them in some teasers, some parlays, very light. So we ended up banking 3 units Thursday night with Rutgers. That was big. Um, Actually, it was Friday night. I don't know why I'm thinking Thursday night. It was Friday night. It was Friday night. But all these days are running together right now. Saturday, we woke up with a bang. And if you listened to the show last week, one of the teams I've been betting all year, um, and if you just bet the military academies this year, if you just bet Navy and Army every week, you'd be up a ton because Navy and Army are just, both of them are undefeated. Army had a game this weekend. They played Temple. I think the line was 11. We crushed it. We were all over Army. Would they win 42-17, something like that? They blew them out. It was never close. And I heard a handicapper last week because I listen to different cappers. I have some who I really think are more valid than others, just with some of the research they do. And I listened to a capper saying, Temple's had a week to prepare for this triple option. Timeout. Right there. Right there. You don't know what you're talking about. A week? Do you have any idea what the triple option is? You ever talk to a college coach and ask him, how easy to prepare for the triple option? That's like somebody saying, this college team's going to be good because they just started playing man-to-man last week. You know how long it takes to teach correct man-to-man defense? Ask any coach how many months it takes. The triple option, you don't prepare for that in a week. I mean, that's why Army is so solid. They're not huge, but they have quick, skill players at these positions that you need to run the triple option. Look at Navy. Good Lord. Navy's just spanking teams. I mean, we have a situation with Army and Navy. They're both undefeated. They don't play each other till December. They both have one big thing in common. They both play Notre Dame before they meet in December. Navy plays Notre Dame first on October 26th, and then Army plays them November 23rd. I'll be at that game because it's at Yankee Stadium. Um, could both these teams beat Notre Dame? Hell yeah. You've seen Notre Dame. You saw what Northern Illinois did to them. And then Northern Illinois has not won a game since beating Notre Dame. Lost to Buffalo, then they lost this past weekend to NC State. But we had them that day, didn't we? We had the money line plus 2,000, plus 2,200. Uh, so Army plays Notre Dame November 23rd. I don't see Army losing before that game. I don't see Navy losing before October 26th. Um, you know, it's improbable. It's possible, but improbable that both these teams could be undefeated when they meet in December. Wouldn't that be something? Uh, One of these two teams has a very legit chance to make the 12-team playoff between Army and Navy. They do. I mean, if one of them goes undefeated, you can't keep them out. Army is in first place right now in the American Athletic Conference. Um, Navy is undefeated. These two teams will probably run the table up until Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to be tough to beat. I think one of them will probably beat them. But anyways, we had Army to start off at noon. That was one of the teams that we banked on. Then we had BYU money line plus 126. If you've been watching the show, we've been betting BYU every single week. So they cover. Why would you not bet them? They won big, plus 126. They're also in first place in the Big 12. Who would think that? They're in first place in the Big 12. So we had them. We start off with Army and BYU, bam, bam. Then we had a 3-game tease. We had BYU, like, I don't know what they were, plus 12. Kentucky. If you watched the show last week, what did I say? I said Kentucky going down to Mississippi. They're going to make things very difficult for Mississippi. What were they getting? I don't know, 15, 16 points, something like that. But they won the game. They beat Mississippi. Yeah, Jackson Dart. You got a dart board on your back now, fella. Because if you don't start making a run in the SEC right now, you're not going to get to the playoffs. Mississippi's got a tough schedule coming up. They got problems. They lost to Kentucky. Kentucky's got 2 losses. I don't know how Kentucky got blown out by South Carolina because they played Georgia tough. They beat Mississippi. Kentucky has a solid, legit defense. So we had BYU, Kentucky, and then we had Auburn plus 8. Ran into Auburn. That was my pick of the week. Auburn was my pick of the week to win the game and beat Oklahoma. Let me take a drink. If you watch that game, now listen, that was my pick of the week, Auburn. And we still hit this tease. We had BYU, Kentucky, Auburn plus 8. The tease was plus 20. Had 5 units. We crushed that tease. We were up something like 18 units. And then Boston College went down, and I didn't bet them, but I liked them because they were down by like 10. No, they're down 7, but they were plus 175. So on the Discord, if you join the Degenerate Gamblers, $24.99 a month on the Discord, I typed out, I love BC to win this game right now, plus 175, 3 units. We all hit it live. They won. So we were up like 20 units going into the 3:30 games. Let's talk about Auburn. Oh, so Auburn's got a 10-point lead, 8 minutes to go. I have Auburn in a bunch of parlays. We hit them with teasers because we teased them up to like 8, but they lost by 5. Bottom line is, you got a 10-point lead with 8 minutes to go. You're beating Oklahoma by 10. You want to talk, and what I say last week, I said if they don't turn the ball over, if they don't make mistakes, they'll win the game. What's the quarterback do? He throws a pick 6. When they're going in to score down 3, throws a pick 6. It is what it is. But here's the bottom line. If you were a member of the Degenerate Gamblers Discord, if you were a member, when Auburn went up 10, I had all the guys in there like, should we hedge? Yes, we're going to hedge. Because what we did is we went in there and we bet Oklahoma. We bet them at plus 190. Then we bet them at plus, I think, 270. Oklahoma to win the game. We had guys middle it on the teases. We had them middle it because they took, I think Oklahoma was plus 6.5, plus 7 at some point. They ended up winning the game. So you also, if you had Auburn the tees, you won on Auburn and you won on Oklahoma. So I want to be clear on that because people are like, ha ha, you picked Auburn. Yeah, you're right. I picked Auburn. I thought they should have won. They should have. But it doesn't matter because we had a team that we were able to hedge on it nicely. So especially if I pick an underdog and that dog is winning the game, I'm going to automatically hedge always, and try to catch the middle. That's what we do here. Uh, so we move on 3:30. I like Notre Dame. I like USC. Both of them won easy. Here's another one. Central Florida. I had them winning. They were like, I think they were minus 14 over Colorado. They got thrashed. It surprised me. Central Florida did not show up to play. They laid an egg. Your chances of winning the Big 12 were right out the window. You're not going to the playoffs. They just didn't play against Colorado. And it wasn't Colorado played great. Because they had Central Florida had Colorado in situations third and long, and they just allowed them to run and throw the ball all over the field. That was a loser. But we came right back with Georgia Southern, baby. What did I say last week on the pod? I said Georgia Southern playing at Georgia State. It's in Atlanta. It's basically a home game for Georgia Southern, 3 hours east in Statesboro. There was way more fans from Georgia Southern than Georgia State, which is a commuter school, might I add. So we were all over Georgia Southern plus 3.5. I think they won by 14, 17, 5 unit play. We loaded it. North Carolina, if you listened to the pod last week, what did I say? They lost 70-50 against James Madison. I said, you don't back up a injured dog, or what I say, wolf. I said something really stupid. Either an injured dog or wolf into a corner because they're going to fight for everything. And that's what UNC did. They fought. They were plus 1.5. We had 3 units on them. They lost to Duke by 1. They could have won that game, but they covered. They came out and battled. They battled. They played hard. Um, so basically, those are a couple things to look at. We'll talk a little about the Bama game going in. But look, here's what we need to talk about. UNLV in the Mountain West is fighting with Boise to win that league and get a playoff berth. UNLV's quarterback, you guys know the story. It's Matt Slukas. UNLV promised him 100 grand, and they definitely did. They promised him 100 grand. And they had paid him 3 grand going into the fourth game. And he said, screw you guys. You're not upholding your end of the deal. I'm out of here. I got a year left. I can redshirt this year and play somewhere else and get paid. I don't blame this kid. I don't blame him one bit. And it got so crazy. And UNLV looked so bad because there was casinos in Vegas that were going to foot the 100 grand, saying, Matt, come back. This is the best team we've ever had. Here's 100 grand. Finish the year out. And UNLV said, no, let him go. Let him go. And it really looked UNLV bad. And I first came out on Twitter. By the way, follow me, Howie_Dewey on Twitter. I came out and I kind of I bashed UNLV a little bit, but, not to get into conspiracy theories, but you think UNLV maybe knew what they were doing here because, I don't know, this kid Malik Williams steps in and goes 13 for 16, 182 yards, 3 TDs. They beat Fresno State 59-20 or something? Fresno State was 3-1. Hadn't played a great schedule, but they're decent. UNLV, this kid may be better. This Williams kid from UNLV may be better. He runs the ball. He's pretty accurate. Maybe they knew something we didn't know, and they were glad to get rid of this Sluka kid. I don't know. I don't know if this is true. I'm just throwing it out there because it looks shady that this kid came in and they actually look better than they did with Sluka. So we got to keep an eye on UNLV because there's a huge matchup coming down the road with Boise State. Because you saw what Boise State did to Washington State Saturday night, late night. Boise State has the best running back in the country. Boise State's been smacking everybody. I mean, they're legit. If they get by UNLV, I would not want to play Boise State in the playoffs. I don't care who you are. You're Alabama. You don't want to play Boise State. They have legit NFL players on that team. I wouldn't want to play them. And we've met them a lot this year, and they've done well for us. So I just wanted to toss that out a little bit about UNLV. because something's going on there. The fact they just let this kid walk. Anyway, let's get into the late slate. Look, it was Georgia against Bama. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't love the game. I like Georgia. I figured Georgia would win the game. I have to go back to the philosophy that Alabama owns Georgia. They do. They do. Georgia came out and what I couldn't believe, forget about the offense. The defense in the first half just looked horrendous. They just looked slow. Um, this Milroe kid, the quarterback for Alabama, he's the real deal. He's the best quarterback in the country. He's the fastest guy in the field. I mean, not necessarily quick, but if you saw like Derrick Henry last night, Derrick Henry gets a step on you, you're not catching him. He's 6'3", he's fast. He's fast. Not necessarily quick, but he's fast. This kid Milroe, if he gets a step on you, you're not going to touch him. You saw what he did Saturday night. He's just a weapon. He throws the ball. Uh, they have a good, solid defense. Alabama right now is my new pick to win the national championship. They just look loaded. Let's see what Georgia does. I wouldn't want to play Georgia next week. I would not. We'll get into that in a little bit. I wouldn't want to play them. I think they'll, and same thing with Mississippi. Their next game, I would not want to play them either because these teams that lost, they have to win big now and they have to win often to get in this 12 game playoff. But you saw the game. Georgia made a nice comeback second half. They really did. Little too late. The interception hurt, but Alabama looks good. They look really good. That was last week. Look, college football, we won. This fifth week in a row. We came out on top. We came out positive. I mean, we didn't win a plus 32,000 parlay like we did 2 weeks ago. Um, we actually came fairly close though with the 28,000. I mean, Miami and Georgia were the two teams that would screwed it up. But we hit just about everything else. We hit we hit BYU, Notre Dame, USC, Auburn. We had them plus 7.5. We had Rutgers. We had UNC, Georgia Southern Army. It was a good weekend. Good weekend. We do a lot of research on here, man. That's what we do for you. I call everybody I know, call old coaches, old players, just get an idea of offensive schemes, injuries. That's huge. Weather, you got hurricanes coming up. Look at poor North Carolina. Appalachian State couldn't play this weekend. Let's get into this week. Let's get into this weekend. We have 2 games Thursday night. I'm not going to dwell on these. I like one game. Texas State's playing Troy in Alabama. Texas State's good, known for offense, solid offense. They run up scores. Troy State getting plus 13.5 at home. This is a school that I've done very well on the last 5, 10 years. I'm going to lean towards Troy State, probably get it up to plus 14.5. Troy State may have a chance to win this game. They're not that bad. They're not that bad. If you look at their past 4 games, they're in every game. This is a home game. It's a Thursday night game. There'll be a lot of fan support there. I will lean towards Troy. I can tell you that right now. We get into Friday night. This is what I'm going to make some calls on. You got Jacksonville State playing at Kennesaw State, Kennesaw, Georgia. They just went D1, what, 3, 4 years ago? Nice stadium. Kennesaw State's 14.5. I'm not going to comment on this, but I'm going to have a play on this game. There's no doubt about it. I will have a play on this game. Doesn't necessarily have to be a big, big game. I don't care who's playing who. If I have a good feel or a good, some info on a side, that's where I'm going with. Friday night, also the other game is Houston at Texas Christian. Houston actually, their defense isn't that bad. They just can't score. A tough time scoring, playing down at Texas Christian, 15.5 points. Then the final game Friday night, you got Michigan State getting 24.5 at Oregon. That could be a rough night for Michigan State. They played Boston College very tight. They got to go to Oregon. Oregon's number 6 in the country, fighting for a playoff. This could get ugly. Saturday at noon. This is one I'm watching. You got two of the military academies playing against you. You got Navy going out to Air Force. Option, wishbone. It's gonna be a while. I love watching these games. Air Force is plus 8.5. It's gonna be very tough for them to beat Navy. Navy has good players, but they're playing at that nice high altitude. I love when analysts say that. It's the altitude, man. They're gonna have trouble breathing. Get the fuck out of here. Come on. Um, this will be a tight game. Be a good game. You're getting Saturday at Purdue, Wisconsin. No comment. UMass playing at Northern Illinois, minus 17.5. They've lost two in a row. Northern Illinois could be out for blood in this game. They got to bounce back. UMass is the perfect team to bounce back against. Um, here's one that kind of baffles me a little bit. North Carolina is at home this weekend, only plus 2.5 against Pitt. Are they going to continue to fight and give Pitt a game? I don't know. Got to look more into that game. Um, again at noon, you go to the SEC. You got undefeated Missouri. They're ranked ninth in the country. That to me, what's that word called? A joke. They should have lost to Vanderbilt, who lost to Georgia State. Missouri is playing Texas A&M. Texas A&M is minus 1.5. I would think they'll beat Missouri. I don't think Missouri's that good. They're number nine in the country. No, no, they could lose 3 or 4 games the rest of the year. Um, you got Wake, NC State, SMU playing Louisville. Louisville's looking good, looking solid. Minus 6.5. They had trouble this past weekend, but it's a decent team. Here's one that could get real ugly. You got it new. You got UCLA. How about this? These West Coast teams that are in the Big Ten they got to travel to Pennsylvania, UCLA. Penn State's minus 28.5. I don't know. They might win by 40. UCLA is not very good. Penn State's seven in the country. I don't know if they deserve to be seventh. We'll see. Um, here's another rough one. You got Iowa playing Ohio State. I think I'd rather go in the backyard and dig a ditch to watch that game. Ohio State's minus 20.5. Probably a good bet. Iowa will slow it down. They're not very good. A lot of action games, and I love the MAC. I love the MAC. This is an interesting game. Miami of Ohio playing at Toledo, 3:30. Toledo's minus 6.5. That could be a good game. That could be a good money game here. The over-under is 43.5. I'm going to be all over that game. Um, Virginia Tech playing Stanford. Wow, finally, East Coast team's got to go to the West Coast. Virginia Tech's got to go out to Stanford after probably they should have beaten Miami. Stanford's plus 8.5 at home. I don't know. Stanford beat Syracuse. Stanford's at home. Virginia Tech coming off of that battle with Miami. I'm probably leaning towards Stanford there. Probably am. Um, here's one. Indiana, first place in the Big Ten right now. 23rd in the country, ranked. Indiana. This isn't basketball. This is football. They go to Northwestern, and if you saw that field, it's not Northwestern's normal football field. They're playing it like looks like a high school field up north where they just built a few things on the end for reporters to sit in. But it's a field like right on Lake Michigan with wind, bad weather. Well, I got to check the weather because Northwestern's plus 13.5 at home. I'll definitely lean towards Northwestern in that game, possibly to beat Indiana plus 13.5. Here's another interesting one. SEC, Ole Miss. They got to bounce back. They're only minus 9.5 playing at South Carolina. Saturday at 3:30. Appalachian State getting back into it after a week off because of the hurricane, going to Marshall as an underdog, 2.5 points. Tell you who I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be Auburn this weekend. I mean, they don't have a quarterback. These quarterbacks for Auburn are terrible. They still should have won the game against Oklahoma, but now they got to go to Georgia. Ooh, they got to go to Georgia. Georgia's going to be blitzing these guys. The line is 23.5. I see this score 52 to maybe 3, 7. Oh, like this got to be my pick of the week. Jesus, I'm not gonna say anything yet, but I would not want to be Auburn. Have to go to Georgia. I really wouldn't. Temple plus 14 and a half going to UConn. UConn's been playing very well. Smash Florida Atlantic. UConn's playing great. Rutgers plus 6.5 going to Nebraska. I'm not going to talk about that yet. Both these teams are playing well. Of course, Alabama going to Vanderbilt, minus 23 and a half. I don't know. Could be a trap game there. Alabama coming off the big win. Vanderbilt's not that bad. Should have beaten Missouri in overtime. We keep going. Utah State, they are terrible. And they go to Boise. Boise's 21 in the country. They should be higher. Boise's better than Missouri. What, they got Missouri at 8, 9? Boise's at 21? Get the Boise would beat them by 2 touchdowns. Utah State plus 26 and a half going to Boise. That's going to be a long night for them. Clemson minus 14 and a half going to Florida State. How can you not? You can't bet Florida State. We bet them once this year. We bet them once, and we won. We won. I don't want to press my luck. Florida State's not very good. They're plus 14 and a half at home. That'll be tough. Um, there's another game we didn't talk about this weekend. I actually took South Alabama plus 24 and a half at LSU. They lost by, I think, 30. They had been playing well, and LSU just had a couple long plays to put them away early. South Alabama's minus 3.5 at Arkansas State. Uh, they should bounce back. I'm going down over these games. We got Michigan at Washington. Washington is minus 2.5. Michigan's 10 in the country. I really don't know how. Hope Washington beats them so they knocks them out. They don't belong there. University of Central Florida, minus 1.5 going to Florida. They look so bad against Colorado. Oh, they look terrible. I don't think it can play any worse. Florida's horrible. I don't know. I don't know. Duke at Georgia Tech. Tech's not bad. Minus 7.5. Miami going out to California. California is not bad. They're plus 12 and a half. That could be an interesting game against Miami. Um, Look, I look like I just froze. I didn't. Hit the link. Click the link in the bio. Click the link in the bio. Go to the Degenerate Gamblers website on Whop, whop.com. Join the Discord. We're on there all day. I'm putting out baseball futures today. That's going out today. We'll do the pod on Thursday, where I'm bringing in a new NFL capper. Uh, Everybody is getting crushed in the NFL right now. Makes no sense. How about the Bills last night? Boy, that was beautiful. They put up just a hell of a fight. Um, but here's what we had this weekend. Friday, or what was it? Friday? Yeah, we had the Cubs, Tigers, 170 plus 174 parlay. We had the Mariners minus 1.5. We had the White Sox on Saturday plus 184. Look, I'm putting out futures today for baseball. We have a big weekend. This is a big weekend in college football. I'm looking at these games. I will weed these games out and get this down to 3 to 5. We will have a wild man parlay, which we hit one this year, plus 32,000. We came close this weekend. If you join the Degenerate Gamblers, if you hit the link below and you join, it's $24.99 a month. Every weekend you have a chance to win $100. If we hit the wild man parlay, everybody gets 100. That's the way it is. But it's a good crew. I enjoy talking with these guys about different games every weekend. Everybody brings something to the table, different parts of the country. But we've been doing very well. We're going in what? Is this week 5, week 6? I don't know, but we're up well over 250 units. We're having a very good year. Listen, don't be a dickhead. Join, baby. Get on the website, whop.com. Go to Degenerate Gamblers, hit the link in the bio. We'll be back Thursday to talk NFL. Let's bank. Peace.